If you're trying to decide whether a big-ticket cabinet saw is worth the space in your shop, you're probably weighing a lot of what-if scenarios. What if the fence drifts? What if the blade doesn't stop when you need it to? What if the machine takes up more room than you have? That hesitation is real, because a table saw isn't just another gadget, it's the centerpiece of most woodworking projects, and a bad purchase can cost you time, money, and a lot of frustration. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent the last 2 weeks setting up a SawStop Professional 1.75 HP cabinet saw in a modest 1,012-foot shop, running a mix of hardwood panels, softwood trim, and a few sheet goods rip jobs. The first thing you notice is the sheer size of the unit. 85 inches wide, 33 inches deep, and just over 34 inches tall. It sits solidly on the floor, and the cast iron table feels like a slab of concrete you can lean on while you push a 10-foot board through the blade. The dimensions mean you'll need a dedicated corner or a rolling base if you ever want to move it, something that can catch people off guard if they're used to portable contractors' saws. What makes this model stand out isn't a list of horsepower numbers or the length of the rip capacity alone. It's the safety system that stops the blade on contact with skin. In the workshop, that translates to a peace of mind you can't quantify in a spec sheet. During the test, I intentionally brushed the blade with a piece of scrap wood and felt the kickback stop engage within a fraction of a second. The blade halted, the motor cut power, and the wood piece was left cleanly severed. That moment convinced me that the safety feature isn't just a marketing gimmick, it actually works the way SawStop promises. And it's a game changer for anyone who works with kids around or for those who have had close calls in the past. The 52-inch T-Glide Advanced Rip Fence is another practical highlight. The fence slides smoothly along the rails, and because it locks into place with a single lever, you can set a cut and walk away without worrying about it creeping. I ran a series of 10-inch repeats on a 48 sheet of pine, and the cut width stayed within 1/10 of an inch every time. That level of repeatability is useful when you're building cabinets and need identical dovetail slots, or when you're producing a batch of bookshelf shelves. The fence also features a built-in miter gauge slot, so you can attach a standard miter gauge and keep everything aligned without adding a separate accessory. Now, the practical side effects. First, the 1.75 HP motor feels robust for most residential projects. But when you push it into continuous heavy-duty ripping, say, a long run of 2-inch hardwood, the motor starts to sound like it's humming louder than usual after about 30 minutes. It doesn't overheat, but you'll notice the heat radiating from the motor housing, and you may need to pause briefly to let it cool down. For hobbyists and small shop woodworkers, that pause is rarely a deal breaker, but for a production environment that runs nonstop, it could become a bottleneck. Second, the cabinet's weight is both a blessing and a curse. At roughly 350 pounds, it stays put, but that also means you'll need a sturdy floor and possibly a helper to get it into place. The factory-mounted wheels make it rollable, but you'll quickly discover that you can't just push it across a carpeted floor without a dolly. If you rent a shop space where the floor is concrete, you're fine. If you're setting up in a garage with a concrete slab, you'll need to consider a protective mat to keep the wheels from digging in. Who should buy this saw? If you're a serious DIYer who spends a few days a month on cabinet projects, furniture, or even occasional restoration work, the combination of precise fence, reliable blade stop, and solid table feel is a strong justification for the price. The safety system alone can save you from a medical emergency that would cost far more than the saw itself. It's also a good fit for small business owners who need a dependable workhorse but don't run a high-volume production line. The ability to set accurate cuts quickly means less time measuring and more time finishing, which adds up in profitability. Who should skip it? If you're just looking for a portable job site saw you can toss in the back of a van, this cabinet model is overkill. The size, weight, and the need for a permanent location make it unsuitable for itinerant contractors. Likewise, if your primary work involves thin plywood, laminates, or shortcuts where a compact sliding table would be more convenient, a smaller hybrid or contractor saw might serve you better. Finally, if you run a shop that needs to run nonstop on thick hardwood for 8-hour shifts, you might look at a higher horsepower motor or a saw designed specifically for industrial duty. One hidden trade-off.